We begin this episode of Matthew's Mobility in Media Res. I've already voodoo flossed my arm. This next mobilization technique works great by itself, but as always, if we can add voodoo floss to the mix, we've multiplied the effectiveness of this technique by approximately 1,000. So I've got my jump stretch band anchored to a nice handy post here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my arm through. My fingers are pointing directly at the post. The band is on the top portion of my arm, just above the elbow. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some tension in the band, and then I'm going to start flexing and extending the knee, letting the band snap it to full extension every time. I'm going to do this about 30 times. Now, the reason I'm doing this is to help bias my arm into that extended position. A lot of times, guys especially have trouble locking out their arm, and in overhead positions with any kind of weight or load, that means your muscles are doing the work instead of your skeleton. So obviously not an optimal situation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to floss in and out of this range of motion, get my body used to being in that end range of motion, and hopefully by the time I'm done, I take the voodoo floss off, then it's going to be magical and I'll be able to stay locked out and let my skeleton do its job. So that's probably about 30 times there. We'll call that 30. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hand, I'm going to point it away from the post. I'm going to plant it. I'm going to have to change the angle of my body a little bit here so that I can again flex and extend that arm. Same exact thing, we're just changing the angle of attack a little bit, mix things up. Another thing this mobilization is great for is tennis elbow. Now this is a common thing among tennis players, obviously, and it also comes up a lot in CrossFit gyms because of pull-ups. A lot of times when athletes come down, they stop themselves before they get to that fully locked out position, and when you do that over the course of 100 pull-ups in a very short period of time, it can get some bad stuff going on in your elbow, which is never any good. So I've found that this is a great technique. It's worked for me and for a few other people around my gym to help relieve those symptoms and create positive change. All right, so I flossed the elbow a bunch of times. I have come at it from a couple different angles. So then what I do is I take the voodoo floss off and I'm gonna feel great. So go wrap yourself up, mummify your elbow, and we'll see you next time on Matthew's Mobility.